So happy New Year, happy holidays, anything that you celebrate. Hope everything's going well for you and your family if you happen to have one. One thing I've seen in the news recently is the fact that Dell is now coming out with something called the XPS 14 and the XPS 16. There was an XPS 13 Plus, which is now just going to be rebranded the XPS 13. So, three different XPSs. It looks like they're getting rid of the XPS 17, the XPS 15. Cool, not a problem. The one thing I think I really wanted to point out is the fact that after hearing or seeing YouTubers and people who have their podcasters, I guess would be an appropriate term to call them, is the fact that even though, yes, technically these are quote unquote new products, the XPS 14 already existed. In fact, I think the XPS 16 technically already existed too. I'd have to take a look at it. Probably, but the reason I say that is, and I've already made videos about this, is that this is the machine that I have. Precision 5470. Absolutely love it. Don't really have anything bad to say about it. I think I bought it for about 1,200 bucks, over a little over a year ago. So definitely enjoy this computer. But the similarities that I want to pull out is just looking at this image right here. You come over to the XPS 15, which if you aren't paying attention, you might be like, did you even change tabs? It's the exact same computer. And I know, yes, it's a 14-inch screen and a 15-inch screen, so it's a little different technically. But in terms of the design language, there's been a lot of overlap between the Precision and XPS line already. The one thing that the XPS line was missing was a 14-inch screen. So the XPS 14 has already existed. Not going to pretend that it's a particularly new product. And here we have the Precision 5570, which again, I think there's also a 5580, just like there's a 5480. So the next year's iteration of the machine. But looking at this machine and looking at the XPS, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same computer. It's probably a little thicker because with the Precision lineup, you're given the option, at least at the time of these creations, you're given the option for dedicated graphics. But I think the XPS 15 also has dedicated graphics. So again, I'm just rambling, but all that to say, the 14-inch XPS has already existed. Okay. And as I kind of alluded to before, but didn't really specifically say, if we come down here, it's hard to tell. There are better pictures, if you want to click on them, make them bigger. The keyboards the keyboard and trackpad on these new XPSs are taking the exact same design language from that XPS 13 Plus, where there's, whoop, that's the wrong one. In fact, let's come here, go to the next one. The keyboard is really, really shallow where the trackpad should be. There is still a trackpad there, but it's kind of integrated into the palm rest. It's a haptic thing now, kind of like the MacBook's trackpads. So a little difference. There's a lot of merging going on here where, yes, and I guess to summarize it, the XPS 13, 14, and 16 pull from the XPS 13 Plus in terms of keyboard and trackpad layout, but the XPS 14 has already existed in the form of the Precision. One of the differences between the Precisions and some of the XPSs in the past is the fact that you could not get dedicated graphics in all of the XPS lines, which again, I think in the 13 you still cannot, but with the 14 you can. So a lot of overlap. I know I'm rambling. Let me see if I can go back to the previous page. Yes. Another thing I wanted to call out is the fact that it's abundantly clear that it's possible that they've seen my YouTube videos and said, you know what? An XPS 14 is a good idea. We have the Precision, which looks like some of our XPSs. So yeah, why not just make it? It's a good idea. Give the customer a little more real estate. And as time has gone on for all laptop manufacturers, as bezel sizes have gotten smaller, you can increase screen size without increasing the overall footprint of your laptop. So yeah, it would only make sense that, we got minimal bezels. Let's just give the customer a slightly larger screen. What actually probably happened is they paid attention to Apple, which a lot of companies do. So with Apple, you have the 13-inch Air, the 14-inch Pro, and the 16-inch Pro. Not a coincidence that these are the exact same sizes right here. Nice three simple laptops. Good to go. But the last thing I want to say is even though I'm quite confident that these are going to be good machines, and if we scroll down to the pricing starting at $12.99, $16.99, or $18.99, I have two recommendations. Neither of them are to buy this laptop or these laptops because, one, starting at those prices, my guess is that you might get some pretty low starting configurations. So if you want to spec them up, you're going to have to pay. I am 100% confident the RAM is soldered onto the board, which at this point I've gotten used to that, so I don't even care about that. So, but that's something you have to worry about in terms of pricing when you initially buy it. Storage should not be soldered, so you buy low storage and you want to upgrade it later, you should be good to go. But for those starting prices, I would recommend either you buy a used XPS if you really want the XPS branding, or as I've been pointing out, if you want that 14-inch laptop, or if you want a 15-inch one, whatever. Well, if you want that 14-inch laptop, I would suggest looking at a used Precision. In the 15-inch realm, yeah, do your own research. I don't. I mean, I owned a XPS 15 briefly for like a day and then returned it because I was like, I don't like this. Uh, but yeah, I would say look at something used. And the other big reason that I'm saying this is it's a good effort by Dell, but I still feel like it's a pretty big miss. And in my Precision 5470 review, I said this laptop is great, but would be even better if there were an ARM chip in it and the battery life was amazing. And based off of what we now see through Qualcomm and their Snapdragon X Elite chips that should be coming out sometime later this year, you're still going to get you're going to get way better performance. So I I feel like Dell should have waited to release these products until later in the year, and instead of putting 14th gen Intel chips in them or 15th gen, whatever ones they are, I, for this type of rebranding, it would have been amazing if Dell was like, look, we got these new XPSs, they're super thin. The 13 doesn't even have a fan in it because it's a really power efficient laptop with these new Snapdragon chips in them. The 14 and 16, yeah, we have we have fans in them, but again, the battery life is amazing. We've shown you all the graphs. We've shown you how they can compare up against Apple's M2 MacBook Pros. We've shown you how they compare against Intel's last generation chips. This laptop, and you can't see me, but I'd be on stage with them saying this laptop could potentially be your laptop for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years. This laptop is going to redefine how you interact with a computer. And the reason I'm harping on it now, and I need to make a video about it later, is as I talk to you right now on this MacBook Air, this M2 Air, as I'm looking at my 16-inch M1 Pro, MacBook Pro, the ARM chips in these laptops have changed how I do computing. Yes, the basic stuff is web browsing, okay? Because they're Apple products, yes, iMessage, FaceTime, like cool, those are things. But when I never have to worry about the battery life and I'm still able to get performance out of it that would be akin to desktops of yesteryear, it's like, hey, this is a one-stop shop right here. And if Dell had decided to wait to put ARM chips in these XPSs, I feel like that would have been the exact same thing with these new XPS machines. So, again, looking at them, they look good. Design language, yeah, they either stole stuff from me or they stole stuff from Apple. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only do so many things, and we all are copying from each other. But the biggest miss, in my opinion, and who knows, maybe later in the year they'll release some with some Snapdragon chips in it. I don't know. But this, in my opinion, is a machine you should not buy. You should either buy a used Precision or a used XPS, again, whatever, or at least wait until later on in this year when they actually, or when Qualcomm releases their new ARM chips, and hopefully a lot of these PC manufacturers and vendors start putting them in, and you get this machine with battery life that is out of this world, and with performance that is several times better than what Intel's putting out in these x86 chips. So again, good effort, Dell. Good effort. Have nothing against what you're doing, but still think, wait, I'm not. I'll say like this, and this will be the last thing that I will say. I'm not buying another Windows machine until I see what's going on with the Snapdragon chips. That will either be the next laptop that I purchased, one of them, whether it's a Dell or a Lenovo or Asus or Acer or something, or at least I will buy, maybe an Intel or AMD some powered something after I at least I see what's going on with Qualcomm and Windows on ARM.